All right, here we go.
One pride.
All right, welcome into the Paul Farrington
Show.
Show.
Can we get a round of
reaction.
applause for me being absolutely right, per usual?
Yeah, Ziggy, congratulations. You picked it right. 38-30.
You picked the Patriots.
The Lions go into Baltimore and beat the Ravens. And I mean, what a statement fourth quarter from Detroit, guys. I mean, we'll get into a lot of things. I think there's a lot to talk about. I have some pretty strong feelings about the Detroit Lions right now. I'm not too happy about it as a Viking fan, the way they look tonight. If you've been enjoying this content, please remember to like, comment, and to subscribe to the channel. Just a, oh my gosh, what an impressive fourth quarter for Detroit. The story to me, guys, the fourth down play calling tonight, the fourth down calls of Dan Campbell, the guts on this guy are just, now look, sometimes they come back and then they get Detroit. I thought that happened a couple of years ago in the NFC Championship game. We don't have to revisit that. It's over at this point. But tonight, the story of the game was fourth down, right? Opening drive for Detroit, 4th and 3. They convert, score a touchdown. They stop Baltimore, 4th and goal from the 1-yard line. After 3 consecutive stops of Derrick Henry, I don't know how any group of 11 humans can stop Derrick Henry from getting a yard 3 times in a row. But the Lions did it, come up with the big strip sack of Lamar on 4th down. Obviously, the game's 21-21 to start the fourth quarter. And they have one of the plays of the year, I think, with the handoff to Amon-Ra, pitch to Gibbs, touchdown. And then that, what coach at the 50-yard line, 4th and 2, is just going, letting Jared Goff drop a 25-yard dot to Amon-Ra St. Brown, win the game. Just ridiculous. Unbelievable.
Coaches who want to win games.
Unbelievable. And yeah, you don't want to give the ball back to Lamar Jackson as poor as he looked there in the fourth quarter, sitting here with Jack Ziggy. And obviously, you know how Jack feels about Lamar as a Steeler fan. You still don't want to give him the ball late in the game. And the Detroit comes away with just a monster win. So, Ziggy, I was with Jack. I got to see all of his reactions. What were you thinking watching Detroit with arguably the win of the year?
I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't know David Montgomery was that guy. Lions fans are going to come in here and tell me that I should have known. I thought this was Jahmyr Gibbs' backfield. I thought this was going to be his year.
Mm-hmm.
The running game from Detroit is just so good.
Unbelievable.
We said leading up to this that like the interior of the Ravens defense, if you want to beat them, you have to be able to outrun them. And that's a tough task, right? Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are both highly effective runners. Lamar Jackson was effective as a passer this game, but the difference was that Detroit just out-physicaled the Ravens in the run game, right? We're talking the Lions had 224 rushing yards. The Ravens had 85. Both David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs had a pair of rushing touchdowns. And like that was an empty production. They needed every single one of those touchdowns in order to win. If the Lions can play this kind of football, going into Baltimore and beating the Ravens by just smashing the rock down their throat, unbelievable.
Dude, at halftime, I was looking over the stats at halftime, trying to get ready for our show tonight. Both teams were struggling to run. Like Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery both, outside of like 1 or 2 10-yard carries, really couldn't get it going on the ground. Derrick Henry couldn't either. And then you look at the stats to end the game here now, and Detroit ends with 224 rushing yards. It was just, they took over physically.
I also think that the Lions defense, outside of, we were saying this during the game too, Paul, like Derrick Henry had a good first quarter 30-yard touchdown run. And outside of that, the Lions defense really seemed to bottle him up.
Jack, he had a 28-yard touchdown run, and other than that, he had 22 yards on 11 carries.
And then Lamar,
and what should have been a game-losing interception.
Lamar, yeah. Lamar was sacked 8 times compared to Goff not being sacked once. And that just doesn't seem to happen to Baltimore in Baltimore ever.
But no, this is the game that we talked about. Usually they have one dominant game against a really good team in Baltimore.
To be physically dominated like the Ravens were for an entire half on their home field is not something that you see quite often.
And look, this speaks a lot to the Lions culture too. This game was neck and neck, right? I'm not sure the last time I've ever seen a game where where both teams scored exactly the same number of points through the first 3 quarters, right? Each team had exactly 7. Like that's a tough game when you were on the road to get it together. When, like you said, Paul, it's easy to look at the final stats and say things went incredibly good for the Lions. It did because they took over in the fourth. Like the one thing you always know about a Dan Campbell team is they will fight back until the game is over and well after the game is over, as we saw with the Chicago Bears last week. Just outstanding.
Baltimore also, they did what the old Belichick Pats like to do: score before the half, come out of the second half, score, go up 21-14, and took back all the momentum there to start the third quarter. Most teams in that situation, Monday Night Football in Baltimore proceeds to open the floodgates.
Mm-hmm.
And who would have thought that Detroit, after being down 7 points, they are the team who just flat out dominates.
Flips
the
script
game.
completely. Yeah. Not just comes back, but really
like,
takes over
flip,
the game.
Yes, and dominates completely to finish the game.
Ziggy, I mean, to me, this is just who Detroit is now. I mean, it's been a while, so we can't say. I was saying the new age Lions. This is the new era of Detroit Lions football for the past few years now. They can go anywhere. They can punch you in the mouth, take over a football game on the ground. Jared Goff has just been unbelievable night in and night out. You got to say he's a top 10 quarterback in the league right now. That throw to amon-ra, another stone cold killer throw. I don't always agree with Campbell's decision making, but on a night like tonight, he looks like a genius. And it's hard pressed for me right now to not say the Detroit Lions are the team to beat in the NFL.
I mean, look,
the thing that stands out to me is I just put out a poll for our largely Packers fan base who's winning the NFC North. People are pretty substantially voting for the Lions here.
No, I look, I want to really clarify something because I think people may have misconstrued what I was saying yesterday, Ziggy. I think the Packers are a really good football team. I think Green Bay is the number 3 team in the NFC right now. And that they can still be a top tier contender. I know they beat the brakes off Detroit in the second half of week 1. But after the response, right? The response that Detroit has had, I think it's fair. And after winning a game like tonight, and the Packers did lose in Cleveland. They should have won, but they did lose. After watching Detroit go into Baltimore, who was arguably the best team in football to a lot of people, to me, the only reason they will not be number 1 in my personal power rankings is because I have that rule of the Super Bowl champions number 1 till they lose. But if it was a neutral field, Philly, Detroit, I'd pick Detroit. I think that everything about them, from the culture to the talent to the coaching staff, it's a top tier organization. And I don't know what to do with them anymore.
I mean, Dan Campbell, this guy will take a shower tonight and won't be able to see his feet because of the size of his balls. I mean, to be on your own side of the field against one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the game and offenses in the game in Lamar Jackson, and to just go and ice the game with a pass is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. On the road as well.
You can tell how much belief this gives his team. Right, you can go into Baltimore and know our coach believes we can do anything.
Oh, but they know
and
that.
will give us every opportunity.
Yeah, they know that. It's just watching them again as a Viking fan. It's hard to really watch an NFC North team dominate like this. But it's just they're a fun team to watch. It's really frustrating, and maybe there's this sense in me that the Vikings aren't going to be great this season. And like last year, this game would have driven me crazy. But there's an appreciation you have to have. I mean, John Morton coming out tonight with some of those play calls, that looked like the Ben Johnson offense, right? That looked no different from what we saw with Ben Johnson in Detroit. And the trick plays and another great play with David, was it Montgomery, right? Throwing it back to Goff tonight earlier. It's just this NFC battle between the Eagles, Lions, and Packers will be very, very close. But right now I'm giving the head nod to Detroit. And then they could have, there were a lot of opportunities in this game, too, for Detroit to make it a little worse. They had the dropped interceptions. Derrick Henry was playing jackpot. And I don't know. John Harbaugh needs to pull Derrick Henry and say, if we ever run that play again, if you have pressure in your face, you just go down.
Get tackled.
Just go down.
Either jump ball to a 5'9" receiver.
When you have Derrick Henry throwing a jump ball, it's just oh, my, what are we doing here? I was just so impressed. And
Green Bay woke the Lions up, it seems. It's funny how the whole narrative 2 weeks ago was how, dang, Detroit was sloppy and Green Bay might be this machine. 2 weeks later, the narrative switches. Typical week 1 type of. It's funny.
And it's important to remember, just as it was with the Lions in week 1, when people were coming out, it was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard. People coming out and saying Detroit might not be a playoff caliber team this year. Like, just,
They
you
didn't
can
look
have,
like it.
You can
And
have.
if you doubt it, you can go back and see our reaction to those games. We were 100% on. The Lions are still one of the best teams in the NFC.
Yeah, you can have bad games. It's acceptable.
They weren't
and
for
this
me.
is something that Packers fans need to hear. The Packers just had a bad game against the Browns. It happens. These teams are still really good. You react to things.
You know who called that one?
Yeah, you did call that one.
Me.
You did. You can react to things with a little bit more validation if we're talking 3 weeks in a row, if it's a trend, right? The Packers had a bad game. Let's see them respond. The defense has been awesome. The Lions, week 1, walked into a trap with the Packers' hair on fire. Micah Parsons is there. That's the game Green Bay circled. And yeah, they got their ass kicked in Green Bay for a half of football. But Detroit, like, this is just who they are. This is the culture. We keep saying these words. They're built to be a tough team, and they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop coming.
I cannot wait to see this team go to Kansas City in a couple of weeks. I think it's 3 weeks from now. And just like beat the socks off Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs team in Arrowhead.
They're going to kill the Chiefs.
So this is what's funny. Someone here in the comments section says, I've watched the Lions shit the bed for my entire life. Not really worried. Now listen, it is very important to remember if you're a
That's
Lions
also
fan.
very true.
The curse
Yeah.
is very much alive. And I warned everyone
it
last
is
year.
not.
I warned
No, it
everyone
is
last year and they didn't believe me. The Lions can be great. And people were saying the curse is over. We're 15-2. Great year. But the curse did get you with all the injuries.
You know what will happen in the playoffs is they'll go for these fourth downs on their own home field and they won't get them.
Well, if they're healthy, I think they are tough to beat. But the Lions break the curse when they win the Super Bowl. That's
I wish
the
producer Zach were here. I like this comment. Week 3's over. That goes for all of us, unless you're a Dolphins fan.
Oh, poor Zach, man. There's
Yeah,
a
it was
couple
a pretty good week 3.
A couple other things though. We talk about the fourth down plays and Dan Campbell's decision making, but the way the defense took over there at the end of the game. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, he's been good since coming back. He had a sack last week, but tonight, this fourth quarter against Baltimore, to me, was his statement too of, we said last week the Lions are back in our thumbnail. This week, I think we really mean like Lions are back to maybe the mountaintop. Aiden Hutchinson is back as well. You saw him force the fumble on Derrick Henry. He came and it was all over Lamar at the end of the game. To me, Ziggy, the game flipped on its heel when it was 28-21, right? And Baltimore, I believe they had a 16-yard pass to get down to the Detroit 36, down 7. And from then on, the next 3 series, that drive ended with essentially a sack, a 1-yard run for Lamar. So a 1-yard run, sack. Baltimore's next drive, fumble. Baltimore's next drive, sack, 4-yard pass, 3-yard run, punt. And that was all dominant defensive play.
And that was with arguably the worst game of Brian Branch's career.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the drop pick.
There were a lot of times when he struggled tonight. So, like, the fact that, and that's not usually like him. Obviously, it's a little bit of an exaggeration to say worst of his career. But when you've got a star player struggling, and it feels weird to talk about the great defensive performance when you gave up 30 points to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Mm-hmm. But it was, like you said, Paul, 7 sacks, big plays when they needed it. Like, the defense was able to show up despite one of their most important players not contributing nearly as much as he usually does.
And that final touchdown was a BS nonsense. I mean, it was 20. It was 24 points.
Look, the first 3 quarters was as entertaining and competitive of a football game as you can get. 21-21 going into the fourth. And I'd love to see the fourth quarter stats. I don't have them in front of me right now. But the fourth quarter completely belonged to Detroit. And that ended the football game. They took over offensively. They took over defensively. They mentally and physically outpowered Baltimore. And, on Baltimore's side of things as well, everyone agrees they're one of the best teams, or I would say the best teams in football.
I'm out.
You got to say Jack might not agree.
I'm out. Every time I watch this team, they stink. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. If Jack doesn't watch Baltimore, they win by 30 points. If Jack watches the Ravens, they have a fourth quarter like that. But there is a concern about Baltimore in these late game situations. Like, it has to pop up here. Derrick Henry's fumbled in 3 straight games, the only player in the league with 3 fumbles in 3 games. Lamar he's not gone down the field this season. Now, I know he did it against Buffalo and Andrews dropped the ball. I think they'll be fine. I'm not too worried. Like, to me, someone coming out saying it's a panic time in Baltimore, a little bit of a stretch. You lost to the Bills and you lost to the Lions, 2 of the top 3 teams in the league. But there is something there about in those games against these top teams, Baltimore can fade quickly And it like that is a little concerning if you're a Ravens fan. You might steamroll the rest of the division or the rest of the conference, but in these big moments, we have seen them come up short now.
This reminds me of last season as well. Like they had a big game at home against the Eagles, and the offense didn't show up and they lost.
Mm-hmm.
Like now today, you look at the stats, and it'll say Lamar had like what you said is like 300 yards and
300 yards, 3 touchdowns.
But it's like you watch this game start to finish, the Ravens' offense outside of that first 2 quarters did look pretty bad.
And they had the opening drive touchdown. But
right,
after that,
after the opening drive touchdown, it looked pretty bad. And it was the same thing last year when they hosted the Eagles, big game contender on their home field, and they couldn't get the job done.
I thought Detroit also did a great job tonight of containing Lamar. Lamar, how many times do we see him get out of the pocket, get on the run, right, and he makes these spectacular plays? Detroit did a great job. They had 7 sacks.
Like he had the same number of runs ahead of the line of scrimmage as he did behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, when you're coming into this game, who would have thought if you said one team has 7 sacks with immobile Jared Goff and Lamar Jackson on the other side, 7 sacks to 0, another huge difference maker. And how many times did Lamar take these sacks to make it 2nd and long, 3rd and long? In critical drives.
It's like he's running around like a headless chicken and getting murdered. Like,
yeah, I mean, normally he's able to make amazing plays, but tonight you got to give credit.
I watch him.
You got to give credit to Detroit.
This sets up for a super interesting matchup next week with Baltimore going to Kansas City. One of those teams, right? 2 of the top 3 teams we had to start the season, the end of the season, is 1-3. And doesn't it feel like both of these teams are desperate to beat an actual NFL team? Like the Chiefs, you beat the Giants, congratulations. The Ravens, you beat the Browns, congratulations. But they've lost to the good teams they've played to start the season. I honestly think whichever team loses next week is not going to the playoffs and is sort of out of contention.
And like this is
well, I think that's a bit of a stretch, personally.
This is
starting 1-3 and losing to the 3 good teams you played. Again, it's possible to make the playoffs from there. But you're probably not winning your division unless you're maybe the Ravens and can fraud the AFC North.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
you're probably not going to do a real playoff run.
If the Ravens lose next week and Pittsburgh beats Minnesota, we're winning the division.
It is unbelievable to think.
Like we'll have 2 games. We'll be 2 games up in first place.
The Chargers the Chiefs Ravens loser will be 1-3. The Chargers play the Giants. You gotta think they're gonna go to 4-0. And the Steelers Vikings, like Steelers could win that game, go to 3-1. There's a world that we see one of these teams 2 or 3 games back of the division in week 4 without the tiebreaker too. Like, I mean,
and we always beat the Ravens at home. You know that.
It's just amazing how this season has started off for some of these big name teams. Obviously, the Bengals had the Burrow injury, but there is a real threat here. At 1-3, there's concern. I still think it's still too early for me to say I totally give up, Ziggy. But
it's concerning because then you host the Texans, who admittedly are disappointing, and then you host the Rams.
Well, who do you think has more? Who's more? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jack.
I was going to say next week, and this might answer your question a little bit. Like I think it's more of a must-win situation for Baltimore.
Oh, I think Kansas City.
Well, Baltimore to me is like this is another team now, a team that has haunted you, a team you haven't been able to beat, another team who's considered a contender, and a stadium that haunts you where you lost by an inch last year at the toe tap. Like, if you're not able to win this game, now you lose to the Bills, the Lions, and Kansas City. It's like, oh, crap, here we go again, same old Baltimore. Where if you win...
Also, next week, you're probably not going to have the refs give you a free field goal you missed.
Well, yeah,
with the loop kick that went over.
You're right.
I'm not going to harp on that too much, especially because the Lions won. But like that was a very fortunate break for Baltimore.
I'm just looking. The reason I would pick Kansas City, Jack, is I still think that the AFC North is a lot more open. Surprisingly, after we thought it might be one of the most competitive divisions, but with Burrow down, I think the Ravens, especially with their schedule lightening up a little bit, I think they can go on a run, get hot. The Ravens have played good football, right? The Ravens have just had, a big collapse against Buffalo, and they were dominated for a quarter against the Lions, who might be the best team in football. The Chiefs have been bad. Like, the Chiefs have not played very well. And if they lose to Baltimore and are down to a 4-0 Chargers team, that to me, it's like, all right, the division, I mean, that's hard to come back in the division throughout the year. But now the wild card also, they have a tougher schedule than Baltimore, I think. There are red flags for sure for the team that loses. It's just still, you can't, after week 4, you can't count out Mahomes or Lamar.
Yeah, but it's once you're 1-3, again, you can't completely count them out. It has got to be like, if you're not winning your division, you basically are not going on a playoff run in the NFL. Their exceptions are few and far between. It's at least you now have to rattle off 6, 7, 8 wins in a row for me to start thinking highly of you again.
I also think if Baltimore can go and win next week, it's just a big sigh of relief and like a monkey off your back. Like, we can finally.
Oh, yes.
We finally beat a team who we can never beat.
And this is the time to get them too. Because they're as vulnerable as they've ever been.
Like the Chiefs, who are playing pretty poor football. They're playing poor football.
Offensively, they're kind of a disaster on offense.
Yes. Like Baltimore, a team who feels they had Buffalo beat. That game was over.
Mm-hmm.
A team who now just lost a tough primetime game on their home field. Now you get the Chiefs, a team who's lived in your nightmares. Like, this to me is a huge, huge must-get for Baltimore now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We used to get to play the regular Kansas City Chiefs and not the playoff Kansas City
Yes.
Chiefs.
Like the early season, regular season Chiefs, this is the time to get them.
That is going to... Who would have thought 1-2 for both of these teams coming into that game? I'd feel remiss, guys, if I didn't bring up the Lions drive. The 18-play, 98-yard drive eating up 11 minutes in the second quarter to take the 14-7 lead.
Eagles
I didn't even realize that.
Look, dude, that is another thing we talk about with Detroit, what they do. And Philly is very similar in that way, Ziggy, where they can just take over on the lines and you feel helpless against them. And I'm not sure, Green Bay might be the only other NFC team with their defense that could stack up and maybe get a stop in that situation. They are scary when they're like that. Yeah, we're watching Campbell in the locker room right now. Just a great win for Detroit to kind of remind everybody of who they are right now. And you look ahead on Detroit here. They got the Browns next weekend. Then they got the Bengals before their matchup with the Chiefs. You got to think they're going to rattle a couple in a row here.
That will be funny when the Lions go beat the Browns by like 40.
Yeah. Well, at home, they will absolutely destroy the Browns. They'll crush Browning and the Bengals. And then a couple tests in the Chiefs and Buccaneers. Who on Tampa... I think Tampa's good, but I don't think that they're anything special. 3-0 with 3 Baker game-winning drives. The class of the NFC right now, in my opinion, if I were ranking it, Lions, Eagles, Packers, 1, 2, 3, and then there's a big drop-off.
So Ziggy called this Lions win. He nailed it. And because you did that, Ziggy, can you do us a huge favor and show us your main?
Unreal. Do we have a couple super chats? It looks like there's a couple super chats in here.
All right, we'll get to a couple of these.
Get a couple questions.
We've got a super chat from Mark C asking, should that field goal have counted? Look, I'll be honest, I have to go back and look at the rule book. I know that the official has final say there, and it's totally non-reviewable. On the replays, it did not look good. I will say that.
The goalpost does extend upward, though.
I thought he missed it.
No. So it's not an issue of it went over. It's that it looked like it was too far.
Right.
It looked like we were the Minnesota Vikings out here. It looked wide left.
Right. I thought it was wide. I definitely thought it was wide.
The complaint is not that it's too high. Here, I'll make a little Q&A thing so people can drop questions.
I do have to watch it again. I didn't realize Justin Tucker retired.
That was from Mark C. He said, should the field goal have counted earlier there? Yeah, no, Justin Tucker is no longer a Baltimore Raven. The 67-yard field goal attempt as well, that would have been...
I love that. I mean, that's so Dan Campbell, right? Like, there's no way it's going to work, but you just got to throw the guy out there and see what he can do. It was actually a lot closer than I thought. He had the leg, and it wasn't that far off.
So I apparently was going up against the Lions kicker in fantasy, which I found out in the fourth quarter when they were in the midst of a massive comeback against me.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had realized I was going up against the kicker at that point, he would have made it.
So, yeah, Ziggy, Jack was up by like 40 or 50 points in fantasy tonight and not realizing he was going against Amon-Ra St. Brown, Mark Andrews, and the Lions kicker. And then that third quarter, you had the Andrews touchdown, the Amon-Ra touchdown, and all of a sudden Jack checks his phone. I'm like, whoa, Jack, you're up 7 points. And that Amon-Ra play actually sealed it.
It's funny, though. Like, if I had been aware that I was going against the Lions kicker, I guarantee that field goal goes in from 67 yards.
Michael Morill asks us, who has had the more convincing 3 weeks? The Packers with wins versus Detroit and Washington, or the Lions with wins over the Bears and Baltimore?
Lions. They went on the road. Did
Nice
beat
translation,
Baltimore
Paul.
in prime
Thank
time.
you. Thank you.
Detroit.
So again, this question though, and we talk about the NFL and how much of an instant reaction, what have you done for me lately league is it? The Packers hype, the way we're talking about the Lions tonight is how we were talking about the Packers a week ago.
The Packers mauled this team.
Yeah, and the Packers beat Detroit. So if you were to say to me who's had the more convincing 3 weeks, you can make the argument for Green Bay, but after tonight, I think we're walking away from this, and the Lions' offense looks as good as they've ever been. I understand the Packers beat them, guys, but the defense took a big leap tonight. And to bless you, and it's a defense that's getting healthier and healthier from where they were last year, and getting better from where they were last year with all the injuries. And Hutchinson, this was the best he's looked all season. So I would say Detroit has been more convincing to me because I trust Jared Goff a little more than I trust Jordan Love, maybe even a lot, but I trust him more than Jared Goff. And that running game for Detroit is as dangerous of a weapon as there is in the National Football League.
The Lions tonight went on the road and beat who many people will say is the best team in the AFC. Scored 38 points. Looked amazing in all facets. And the Packers played their first road game and scored 10 points, lost to the Browns.
They lost to a lot of people said was the worst team in the AFC.
Again,
so
though,
I will say this.
Go ahead, Ziggy.
I think what it actually comes down to is this: is do you trust offense or defense more? The Packers have clearly the better defense, and indeed, even in that Browns loss, their defense showed up big time. On the other hand, I think the Lions' offensive consistency, I'd rather have a consistent offense with a defense that's sometimes mediocre and sometimes generates huge plays than a defense that's always elite and an offense that can sputter sometimes. So I'm inclined to side with the Lions here just for that reason, but I could see it going either way.
No, look, I'm not taking away the fact that, yes, Green Bay kicked the crap out of them like 3 short weeks ago. Like, Green Bay is also a high-level Super Bowl contender this year. Like, I'm not saying they're not.
The thing is, you just can't react too strong, because there are going to be people who come out and say, after this performance from Detroit, after the Philly performance, coming back against the Rams, who are another top-tier NFC team, that they are now the standalone top 2. There will be people who say that. And I get it. I get it that you're acting off of the most recent information, but we have to take the whole picture of the season so far, and Green Bay has been there. Next question comes in here I'm seeing from General Barnaky. He says, is Lamar transitioning into Kyler, not playing within a structure and costing the team more than in the past? No. Not at all. I mean, guys, Lamar had 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions last year. He was.
I don't believe that's true.
Yeah, Jack's just a simulation here.
I think that's legitimately made up. I don't see how that's.
Look, whatever you think about Lamar, surely you can grant to me he's significantly better than Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I mean, we're not having this debate.
We're talking about Kyler Murray here. We're not talking about Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow.
I think Murray's better.
No, you really don't. You really don't.
Okay.
But and just to answer your question a little bit more here. In week 1, Lamar had 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, 70 yards on the ground, and a touchdown. Henry fumbled the ball. Last week in Baltimore, he goes for 225 yards and 4 touchdowns in the air. Did he run one in as well? Oh my gosh. He probably did run one in as well. And then tonight, I mean, Lamar had a pretty good 2.5 quarters, and then Detroit just took over the game. It's not. I mean, look, Lamar Jackson is as elite as it gets in the NFL.
I haven't seen him play one good game ever. When I watch the Ravens,
Kyler probably lose this game by 30.
Yeah, like it's not even close. Pug says, Ziggy, with the Packers / Lions with QB continuity, it makes sense that one of the other likely wins the division, but the Vikings can definitely compete for second for a wild card spot. Your thoughts?
My takeaway from this first 3 weeks is that neither the Vikings nor the Bears have any chance of winning this division. These two teams are playing on a different level than us. The Vikings actually, I think, have some chance of backdooring their way into a wild card spot. I could buy that. I cannot buy the Vikings going second in this division. Green Bay and Detroit seem like 2 of the 3 juggernauts of the NFC. And I just don't think we're going to be good enough to compete with them.
I'm feeling miserable with where we are as an organization. Sorry, not as an organization, with the quarterback dilemma. That's really what it is. I think O'Connell's great. Kwesi's great. The rest of the team is ready. But the dilemma that I'm having right now is we have Pittsburgh and we have Cleveland internationally the next 2 weeks. Now, as everyone knows, and if you're watching and don't know this, the Vikings don't lose internationally. So the Vikings will be 4-1 going into our bye, okay? If that happens and Carson Wentz is playing decent football, the next game is the Vikings hosting the Eagles. You probably have to start Carson Wentz in that game.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right? You have to if we're undefeated. But the problem for me is that...
Also against the Eagles, too.
Yeah. I guess if we lose that game, do you then bring J.J. McCarthy? This is all a hypothetical situation, but the overwhelming problem is the Vikings are ready to win now. And there was a clip of the defense today going around that Alec Lewis put out. J.J. Watt reposted it, where they're just disguising everything brilliantly. It's a really complex football that the Vikings... I mean, what Brian Flores is doing is awesome. And the Vikings have a great grip on what they do defensively that most teams probably can't handle. And that just shows to me that it's not hoping J.J. McCarthy's good. We need him to be good because the team can win. But he needs reps to be good to develop. So, what do we do here? If Wentz is playing okay and the team is better, they can win now. But JJ is the future.
Do you play Carson Wentz?
I don't know. Would you play him, Ziggy?
Wentz is better than McCarthy.
No. Would you play JJ as soon as he's ready to go?
Oh, yeah.
What if the Vikings are 5-1 with Carson Wentz?
You could convince me for the sake of his health, we don't want to bring him out against the Eagles. You play him when he's ready to play.
So
I don't care if Carson Wentz is a better quarterback.
If he's ready to go against Philadelphia and we're 4-1, are you bringing J.J. McCarthy back?
No chance.
Yes.
I don't know. What? In the Wentz revenge game?
My Uncle Jeff said you have to know.
At the end, you have to know who your guy is.
Your dad said no way.
That's the question the Vikings are facing right now.
I'm with Bob Farrington.
It's a little tricky. All right, let's from just Seth Mayo. Are trick plays a part of the Lions' identity now? Thought that was a Ben Johnson thing. Yeah, no, I think
it's always been a Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I think it's a Dan Campbell thing.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell Dan Campbell is one of the most fun head coaches. Again, like him or hate him, his decision making, Dan Campbell is as fun as it gets.
He head coaches like he's coaching a college team.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Like he runs college-like plays in the NFL, which makes the Lions great.
In like a group of 5 college team playing a Power 5 team.
Stan the Caddy, Ravens are last year's Packers. They can't get a rush with 4. Big concern would be the Lions D and still the Packers run game with the O-line injuries. I think the Lions defense is going to continue to get better. I think tonight that fourth quarter was just a masterpiece from them. Packers O-line is definitely a little bit concerning. It looks like a lot of people are starting to pug it here, saying the Vikings will have a good division record, but not overall. I hope so, man. I hope we can get there.
I think it's the other way around.
Well, like good outside
solid
the division.
Overall record, but struggle in the division.
M2. So Jack, this is like this goes over to you here. Paul, you often say that you always believe in the great ones to have one last push in them. With the Ravens reeling, why not Pittsburgh for the division?
Why not? I agree.
I think the great ones have one left in them, and I've said this. If you've listened to the show for a while now, I'm not wavering from this take. I believe that Aaron Rodgers this offseason could excel in an environment where the team can lift him up. And that's exactly what the Vikings would have provided him. A great offense, great defense, where he can, if he's Aaron and he can just have that one last push, the Vikings are good enough to elevate him. With the Steelers, I think Rodgers has to elevate that team. Would you agree with that? For the Steelers to be good?
No, I think we're fine.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I watched you go.
He needs to elevate that offensive line, Jack. At least give us that.
The line needs to get better, yeah.
I just watched Pittsburgh go into New England, have 5 turnovers and barely win the game. And I'm like, I just don't see them as a real threat. And that's why I think Baltimore has a little more wiggle room than the Chiefs.
But you know what's going to happen is...
Oh, you have your Steeler match.
Like, our offense week 1 will come along with their defense week 3. They're going to merge together and will become very, very good. The truth of the matter is, and here's the sad truth for you, is the Steelers will not lose to the Minnesota Vikings. Like, that's going to be a win.
No, you don't know. You don't know how good we are internationally.
And Baltimore will lose an Arrowhead.
I'm surprised you didn't learn from the last time we went overseas.
We won
with Matt Castle.
We've lost 2 times in a row.
We had Matt Castle at quarterback.
Yeah,
we ran the ball down your throat.
We were 0-4. Like, we sucked.
You had Big Ben.
Yeah, I think Ben sucked that year. We missed the
We're
playoff.
8-0 in international.
We
games.
don't lose internationally.
You haven't played in Ireland.
That's
Like
true. We haven't played in Ireland.
Congrats, you're 8-0 in London. It's a totally different.
So the Browns are screwed, but I'm willing to put it internationally.
Like we will beat the Vikings. That's just gonna happen.
Wow.
So
Wow, we're gonna need a bet on this.
So we'll be 3-1, and Baltimore is 1-3. We're 2 games up without having played them. Joe Burrow's hurt, probably won't even return. I mean, at that point, it's all systems go.
No, if you're a Steeler fan at that point, and you look ahead the following week, well, you have a bye, but then the following week you have Cleveland, and then you're at Cincinnati.
That could be
Green
5
Bay at home.
That's 6-1.
You're hosting the Colts.
7-1. I mean, that's.
I haven't seen enough from Pittsburgh for me yet despite what their record might be, even if they win next week and they go to 3-1, what the quality of play on the field is not matching what you're saying about them to me.
But
or
we're
what
winning.
Your expectations.
We're winning. Baltimore's losing.
But that's what you do every year.
We're winning. Baltimore's losing.
I know.
Okay,
yes.
I don't want to hear we're winning. Baltimore's losing when you're beating the Jets and the Patriots, and Baltimore's losing close games to the Lions and the Bills.
We're going to be 2 games up 4 weeks in.
I will say generic name here. He goes, watching Aaron so far, it's clear that he's still got insane arm talent. The Vikings would be top contenders with AR at QB, meaning Aaron Rodgers, not Anthony Richardson. This has been keeping me up at night, guys. Every time I'm seeing Sam Darnold leading the Seahawks to a great start. Daniel Jones is undefeated, seemingly can't be stopped on an individual drive. Aaron Rodgers' arm, you see a couple of these throws where he's just flicking it 70 yards still on the run. I can't stop thinking how good the Vikings would be if one of them were the quarterback this year. And you pick, and maybe not, Daniel Jones I'm not totally sold on. If you had Rodgers or Darnold in Minnesota right now, I think they're a top-tier Super Bowl contender.
That's another thing, is we lost to the Seahawks, who might be the best team in the NFC.
But it's just crushing me. And for any Viking fan who's listening, or any NFC North fan, I still think they made the right decision at the time to go in on their guy. Like, I supported it. I supported seeing what we had in JJ. In hindsight right now, if you said to me, Paul, you can take Sam Darnold back, I would immediately do it.
Yeah.
Immediately. Because I think we'd be undefeated. I think we would beat Pittsburgh. I think we'd be 5-0 going into our game against Philly. And that is, if you reflect too much on the past in your life, you're just bound to be hurt at some point, right?
No. I think it's you have good reason to do so right now.
I mean, this is the great conflict between the tragedy and the philosopher that's described in Augustine and Plato, right? The philosopher
that's a sign to wrap
truth
up.
and becomes better. The tragedian says, "Don't know yourself." Come on, Paul. You're better.
Thank you.
I think it's totally fair. Like, you can look back and be like, "Damn, I wish we had Sam Darnold."
Just a couple more questions here in the chat. GM Praskak says, are LaFleur and KOC going to start doing more trick plays with Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell doing them more? No, I think this is just who those guys are as coaches, right? Like, Dan Campbell is the aggressive coach. He's the, for lack of a better term, the ballsy coach. KOC and LaFleur, 2 very good top-tier coaches as well. And the Vikings every now and then will throw a trick play in there. Every now, like, they'll try it with Jefferson throwing the ball a couple times, and it usually just ends horrendously. And I'm like, what? And it's also the timing of the play too, right? That matters as well. Where the Vikings will have things going after the offense is stalled most of the game. We'll have like 2nd and 3. We're running down a team's throat. And now we have Justin running 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage trying to launch it downfield to Addison. You're like, oh my God.
Whose trick plays fail worse? Ours or yours?
It has to be you.
Probably.
It has to be you guys.
Yeah, I mean, ours get just blown up.
Like the Steelers try that Lions play tonight on 4th and 1.
Warren fumbles the ball.
I mean, who's pitching it?
DK's pitching it probably.
DK's pitching it to Warren?
Yeah.
I don't want Arthur Smith doing anything creative in my offense.
That would just be a disaster.
Detroit, that's what makes Detroit so fun to watch, though, man. I mean, they just have all these guys are so they're just so good and so locked into what they're doing there. At times it's mastery. At times it's mastery. People are gonna be like, "Get off your knees, Paul." I'm blown away by the Lions.
No, stay on your knees, please.
And we can't beat them. Like we just can't beat them.
So he just gives you the eye roll there.
Okay, is there anything else that we need to get to here?
Good job, our chat voting philosopher and not tragedy. And I knew you guys were cool.
All right, the last question here we'll hit. Michael Morrill, who's a member, and we always appreciate We're going to have a member-specific video coming out pretty soon. A member-only mailbag, which is a treat now for members. If you want to be a member, head over to the channel homepage and select join. It's easier on desktop than mobile. And one more reminder for everyone. If you're listening and enjoying this, please remember to subscribe to the show. We're chasing down 25,000 subscribers, and hopefully we'll get there by the end of September. I think that could be a good goal that we can have. But Michael says, how much concern should Baltimore have with the Henry fumble issues? 3 straight games with it, especially 2 bad ones in the fourth quarter. It's not nothing. You can't say it's not nothing.
I don't think it's a lot.
I agree. But it reminds me a bit of the Adrian fumbling issue back in the day. Like, Adrian Peterson, as good as it is, as good as there was, but he had some seasons where he just couldn't hold on to the football. And NFC Championship game against the Saints. Why am I going here? I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. Obviously, we all remember the fumble inside the 5-yard line. Well, I do. This is a bad path for me. But it fumble Sunday Night Football. We were playing the Bears in a game that we could have competed for the 1 seed. Adrian fumbled in overtime. It's like you have these great players, and sometimes you just have the yips. And Derrick Henry right now, you see the reaction he has too. He's almost crying on the sideline.
I thought he was about to break out into tears.
Me as well. Like, slammed his helmet, like dove onto the bench, and then it looked like he was about to cry, and you could just see his face. He's like, "What's wrong with me?" That is something. And
I know it's impossible not to react like that, but that's not going to stop you from fumbling more. On the contrary.
But he also did say before the game too, it's like, this is something I really have to stop. But
look, sometimes it just happens. And Aiden Hutchinson, we're up here saying like it's an issue. Like, Aiden Hutchinson punches the ball. That's a big dude punching the football.
It's one of the best in the game. Yeah,
but I can't say I'm super concerned about it going forward because you got to trust Derrick Henry. He's one of the best to ever do it.
I mean, he's had more fumbles this season, or the same number of fumbles this season as the last 2 seasons combined.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a fumbler. This isn't Ramondre Stevenson we're talking about. And until he proves that he really is the fumbler, which is going to take a little bit more for me.
The fumbler.
Well, no, that's what it is, right? It's like the Hamburglar, except instead of stealing hamburgers, he coughs up
footballs.
Pigskins.
He coughs up pigskins in critical situations for his team.
Other than that small difference, he's literally the Hamburglar.
How about the wine burglar?
There were a couple more questions that leaked in here that I think are kind of fun. If you guys have a couple more minutes here, if it's
we'll do that and then we'll wrap.
Okay, so this one's for Jack. The League of Gosu says on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard did Joe Flacco?
League of what?
Gosu?
Yeah, there you go.
Gosu?
Wait, what is Gosu?
It's like you didn't even watch League of Legends on Twitch.
Sorry, League of Gosu. My bad.
That's
man.
like Infinity.
I don't know. How hard did Joe Flacco and the Cleveland turd burglars smoke the Packers?
Oh, kill them. Kick their ass. Like I said they would.
Mike says record prediction quickly for NFC North teams after seeing this week 3.
Don't make me predict season records off of 3 weeks. I'm not doing that. You can do that if you want.
I'll give a brief little. The Packers and Lions over 500. Vikings 500. Bears 2 games under.
I think that right now we're what? It's 11-6. Or sometimes I still get confused with the 17th game. I think the Lions and Packers are both going to go for about 12 wins. I think the Vikings will come in around 8, and I think Chicago will come in around 7 or 6.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that.
That's sort of what I'm feeling right now. What are you laughing at, Ziggy? I see that little smirk come on. Ziggy has little smirk.
I didn't want to call out Pug here because I like Pug, but Pug said that you and I need to stand on business of the Vikings beating the Steelers. Well, I don't know what more we're supposed to say here. We've said over and over again, there's no way on this planet we're losing to the Steelers.
You said the same thing about the Pats. You said we're losing to the Pats still.
Yeah, but this is Vikings International game.
This isn't Vikings London. This is Vikings in a new, entirely different country.
I don't want to hear the Vikings are London merchants. We're international.
No.
London merchants.
No. You're London merchants.
Who's to say?
You have yet to play in.
Wait, who's to say that we're not better
We are not
in
the East India Company.
Like maybe we're just better in Ireland, which would then be.
But who's to say we're not great in Ireland too? What if we come out? What if we come out and Rodgers throws 9 touchdowns? We're Ireland's team.
Jack, we beat Rodgers internationally last year.
Where?
London.
Okay.
here's all I know. We own the Steelers in London. We own Rodgers in London. You put them together, I don't think it makes it any better for you guys next week.
I
I mean, we've won games in Japan. We've won games in Germany. We've won games in Sweden.
You know what this is like
Have we
saying?
really? Seriously?
Yes.
We've won a game in Japan?
Yeah, it was a 1994 exhibition game versus the Chiefs.
Dude, you have no shot.
You know what this is?
Have no shot.
You know what this is like saying? It's like, oh, like the Vikings beat the Steelers neutral field in New Jersey. Now we're playing in California. We could be like, Ireland and London is two different things.
What are you talking about?
Ireland and London is a completely different country.
I think
If we were playing in London,
It's literally not.
I'd get the heebie-jeebies playing in London. I'll admit that. Ireland's different.
I think Mason rips his 4th touchdown of the afternoon in the 4th quarter, and O'Connell's splitting the G before the 2 in the morning.
Who's Mason?
Jordan Mason.
Yes, okay, we're gonna beat you. That's my point.
Okay.
I think O'Connell. My prediction: O'Connell splits the G before the 4th quarter starts.
You drink his pain away.
I'm with General Barnaky. Vikings minus 750. Jack thinks the East India Company's still in business.
See, now we're talking here. The London Vikings. People are starting to catch on here. The Vikings should just move to England. Like, honestly, I would be
but
crushed.
Ireland's not England.
I would be crushed if the Vikings relocate from Minnesota.
What are we missing?
If the Vikings move to New Jersey, where this show is being broadcast from, great state. Great. You know what? I just want to say New Jersey, completely underrated. And it's
maybe the worst state in the union.
Yeah, exactly my point here. Great state. Regardless, though, if the Vikings move to Jersey, I'd probably be pretty jacked up. Other than that, England is the only acceptable answer because we would never lose.
Yeah, and England's not Ireland. Look, I don't know what you guys are missing about this.
All right.
This is a first for both of us in Ireland.
Well, this was a fantastic stream here.
I'm also Irish. You're Italian, so I think we're going to kill you.
I'm also English.
You have Ireland.
5% Irish.
No,
All right, we're wrapping this.
Yeah, there's a big argument, debate in my family.
You're not
All right.
Irish.
So, appreciate everyone in the chat tonight. Looks like we actually have. Hey, let us know right now, real quick, who you root for in the chat. And I know Ziggy did a poll with like who's win the division, but
we don't need a poll.
Drop your team in the chat right now. Are you a Lions fan? You're a Packers fan? Vikings fan? Maybe you're a Ravens fan who's just come for coping, and this show knows how to cope. I mean, man, if there's one show on the internet, television, I don't care where it is, audio only, Twitch live streams, this is the place to come if you're looking for copers. And I'm sorry for that win. All right, let's see what we got here. We got some skulls. Wow, a lot of it's the same person. It's the league it goes to. It's like, wow, we got a lot of Lions fans.
There you go,
here.
Pack.
So it's pretty cool, I think, to have the NFC North community that we have right now. That's a lot of fun, and it's all, generally speaking, you know, everyone gets along. We throw some barbs and jabs at each other, but overall, it's pretty cool.
St. Louis Battlehawks.
I am a Lions fan who was dooming the last couple of weeks, but we are so back. LMAO. Yeah, that's my takeaway.
But yeah,
the Lions are the best team in the NFL. Is my takeaway from tonight.
Okay.
From the guy who says don't overreact. The Lions are the best team in football.
I can't wait to see what take you got when we talk about this with Andy Herman tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh man.
I'd rank the Lions third.
Andy Herman's got to be really upset. Oh, Andy's going to be so upset.
Are we doing a live show after Vikings get their ass kicked this weekend?
Yeah. You know what? We'll do a live show after Steelers Vikings. We'll have coffee time. It'll be coffee and the coffee cake, Paul Farrington show. Maybe it crosses my mind that we just do a live stream the whole game, but I think we'll do a live show after.
Chance.
We do a live show after. So get your coffee out, especially if you're on the West Coast. We're going to be doing a reaction to that game. I guess for Central Time people here, 11:30 post game. That'll be fun. We'll celebrate the great Carson Wentz victory.
If we lose, I'll come here and I'll rest my balls on the countertop.
Okay, all right. All right, we appreciate everybody. We appreciate everybody for tuning into this episode. Again, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the show. I mean, this is as fun as it gets. A little Monday Night Football reaction. Get a little goofy. It's 12:15 in the morning here on the East Coast. So we're going to wrap it up. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, and we will see you on Wednesday with the NFC North reaction to Week 3. And let me make sure I hit end
we'll make sure we get off air before.
I'm not saying anything.